All right, this video is 30 minutes long. It's just become so much easier nowadays that you can get this going so that you can host your own automations, your own Supabase. All this stuff adds up financially, but if you set up a server at Hetzner for, we'll say, $30 a month, you can easily host your own things. And of course, depending on how much you do, depends on how big the server needs to be, but just easily. Right now I have 10 Supabase databases, $5 or $10 a system. I can bring them all into that and just host them here for free. So this video is going to go through how to set up all of these things. Coolify, so you can one button host something, including your Lovable apps, your anything you want. I'll go over how to set up the DNS, how to make wildcard DNSs. I'll then get into how to set up active pieces, Flowise, NoCodeDB, and how you can use this as not a replacement for Sheets, Google Sheets, but as a Google Sheets is free, but it does have some annoying issues with authentication, and if you hit it too much, you get a 429 error. This just makes it really a lot easier, and it's a good system. And then, of course, Supabase. You can just use the open source version of Supabase to host that particular project's database, events, storage, WebSockets, or whatever they call them, and authentication. And again, so when you build in Lovable, you then can swap that over. In the second video, we'll do a one-to-one swap. 30 minutes, you're done. Some of this is just me waiting for things to build. So that's pretty awesome. And no matter your level, hopefully it will make sense. And you can take it piece by piece, go through it, chapter by chapter. I broke it all up. And you'll walk away with an amazing foundation to build some cool automations. Another video, I'll hook it up into local Llama so you can even save money there, run some more just longer processes or whatever so that you don't spend money because you're hitting your local Llama from a remote source. So I'll cover that eventually. All right, enjoy. Thank you. All right, the first thing we're going to set up is the server. I'm using Hetzner just because the pricing is blowing me away. I've used DigitalOcean for a long time, moving everything off to this as far as I can tell so far. So let's give this a name and let's go make that area to make the server. Now at this point, we're going to just make a server and a firewall. Then we'll go into our DNS area and start sending traffic this way. So let's create a resource server. And I'm going to do East Ubuntu and shared because I can't do any more of those. And the pricing is just crazy cheap. I'm going to go for 33 because I want a lot of disk space. 160 is the minimum for Coolify, so we want to put Coolify in here. This actually would be fine. I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to delete it right after this because I have too many servers. Now I'm going to upload my key. There's no key here, so let's go do that. If you haven't made a key, ChatGPT will show you how. Make your public key, your SSH key. It's something like SSH keygen, that. But I already have mine, so I'm going to do a cat pbcopy pub. And it's usually going to be ID. It's usually going to be that. Now I'm using the Warp terminal, which sometimes has some AI, which is good. Sometimes drives me nuts. But I'm going to take my public key and put that into my clipboard just like that. And at this point, I can paste it into here. So we can just do that. Now we don't need a volume, it's already on there. The firewall we do need, but I need to go make it. So I'm going to go over here for a moment and make that. Create the firewall. We're going to want a few ports. Let's do 443 and then 8000. And then later on we're going to need, we won't need it. I'll remove this one right now. We could do 5432, but we don't need to do Postgres just now. I'll leave that out. And we'll call this our default. We'll call it training firewall. All right, and then we create. Then we go back to our server and we can do a backup. That costs a little bit of money, but it's worth it, obviously, if it is an important server. Labels and stuff you could do, and then we give it a name. And let's go back up to the firewall because I didn't add it. It shows up here instantly, so that's pretty cool. And then we just go create it. So now, while this is going, we got our IP. I'm going to go over the Coolify docs and watch how easy they make this. So I'm going to go to docs, get started, installation, that guy there. And then I'm going to go SSH into this guy. It should be ready. Let's go to our terminal. Now, when you SSH in, you're just going to be root and you're going to need your key. what I end up doing is this. Let me do this off screen so I can show you just enough. And let me see here. Okay. So I just nano this file here at your .ssh config. And in here, I'll do something like host name. Let's see if I got this right. Nope, it's host. And I'm going to call it something. We'll call it training server. Okay. And then in here, I'm going to just say host name equals that IP we just got and the user root. And the reason I want to do this is because it's going to get very frustrating if you always have to remember all that stuff. So now I can just do this. So let's get back to the terminal, SSH server. So now it brings it in for me as I type it, and give it a moment and we're in. Now we're going to go take that curl command. You should read the file before you run it. I've already looked it over. This is a pretty well-known project. It's worth reading over, obviously, all joking aside. They have a Discord channel you could join, and that will get you some help as well, or just to say thanks. And then let's give this a moment. I'll speed some of this up, but none of this so far is going to be a bunch of time. All right, that's it. So now we're going to go to the IP of the server we made. We're going to register, and obviously you're the first to register, so that's yours. Now we're going to get started. We're going to say next. It's a local host. You can have a remote server, which will be cool later on. I'll go over that sometime. And they drop you right into a new project, which is cool. Now, that's it. Your server is set up, but we don't want to go to that IP every time. So let's go to our hosting provider. For me, it's Cloudflare. For this, not for everything. Actually, I take that back. Let's go to Hover for a moment. I'll go to my control panel, and I'll go to this guy here. And I'm going to do DNS. Cloudflare will work as well, but I'm just going to go do this one here. It would be that IP, okay? And then the host name will be apps or whatever. And so we're going to say, okay, every time, I already done apps, we're going to call it services. That will go to Coolify services at that domain. So when I do this, within a moment, it will go there. And I set it to 15. I messed up there. Let me set this to 5. Okay. So now the IP in the services and the IP will go there. So now if we were to go there, and I want to do one more thing though. Services daily. Oh, sorry, it has to be 8,000 because that's what this guy serves itself on. Okay. So that's our Coolify. But I think right now we're still going to have a moment because, one moment. Let's try logging in. Yeah, there we go. But let's now do one more thing. We want to allow our sites to be wildcard domains. So we're going to go here, go to localhost, and then we're going to say, you know what, this is our root domain. So it will be activepieces.services.the Daily AI Studio. Not the greatest, but you get the gist. So at this point, we click save. We make believe we read these things, and I'm going to restart the proxy. I don't know if I have to. Give it a moment. So now, if we go to our dashboard, we can make our first project. I don't want to do that yet because I got to go back to DNS, and I could have done this a moment ago, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to now do this. I'm going to say add a record, star.services, that. And now at this point, I must have a space in there, sorry. We have a wildcard domain with certificates. This is just too easy. Let's call this, we're gonna make a project, and this project is gonna represent, we can have many projects. You could have them named after clients, after real projects or whatever. And by creating this particular group, we're gonna create a few projects in here that I've talked about so that we can then self-host them. And because they're all inside this particular project, they have a certain network sharing going on as well. So there's a lot of advantage there. So the first one, I'm going to do a whole bunch, so this video will be clipped of all of those. But we see how easy it is to get Coolify going. We see how easy it is to get a server going. I haven't sped this up at all. So let's kick off our first thing for a service. We're going to do active pieces. And this is a good one. So let's kick this one off. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to tell you know what, don't give me this crazy thing. Just do that. And now we're set to go there. And I'm going to deploy it. So I'll let it run for a moment. Maybe I'll speed up this film. But overall, it's going to take care of the domain first, the security, the certs, sorry, not the security. and we'll be ready to go with active pieces. Let me go get that password ready. Actually, what I'll do, let's make a new item. Now, while that's running, the thing you got to remember is sometimes during a build process, you can lock up the server. These don't. If you're using certain providers like AWS, I've seen them lock up more. Another thing you could do, and let's quit out of here for just a moment, split the pane down. So that's htop. Let's go back into that server and say docker ps. Oh, sorry, docker stats. You can watch, you can keep an eye on it. There's one called Checkmate though, which we'll do at the end. We'll install Checkmate to monitor things, but I don't know how far I'll go into that one. But here you see things are running pretty busy right now with that build. It's doing a lot with those containers. There's numerous ones, so it has to download them and build them. I think this one might be done. Not yet. Oh yeah, it is. Cool. So now, you shouldn't close that window right away. I've messed up a few times, but whatever, you'll figure it out. But now they're running, so we're ready to go with our first service. We're like less than 10 minutes into this video. So give it a moment. Hopefully the server, yeah, it's doing good. So let's go see why this DNS didn't kick in. So active pieces, the DNS, did I get it right? Star services IP. And then I go to here. All right, so we know our firewall is set up to allow 22.443. Oh, I didn't do 80. Okay, let's go fix that. So let's do that. And obviously I want to serve at not 80, but we need to start there for a moment. And let's go fix that. We're going to make this so it's not the HTTP. Let's go do that. Actually, I'll go do that. I'm going to go sign up here for a moment, and then I'll go do that. All right, good. So this comes with a database included. You can read up on the docs on that, but it's not the database we're going to use for a lot of things. Let's first go to our Coolify. Let's close some tabs. Let's go to Coolify. I think it's this guy where we'll say HTTPS, and I think that will be enough. If not, we'll go figure out a different one. So, and I think, let's go try it without restarting, and then I'll restart. Nope, didn't work. Then I'll restart the proxy, give it a moment, which basically takes down everything. So just remember that. Okay, still insecure. So now I'm going to go here and do this one other area in the, where is that guy? Let me see. Oops, sorry. Under servers, this is our one server. You can have more than one. There is a force. Where is that setting? I know there's a setting for that. Let's go read the docs. Okay, so I finally read the docs. I set this guy to it. I thought I did that already. I'm going to restart it to give it a moment. I don't know if that really matters. I think it does. Give it a moment. And I don't know. Sometimes if I shut that window, it ruins it. But I haven't figured that one out yet. And there we go. We're secure. All right. And I don't know if I'll be logged in if I did HTTP. Let's find out. Let's just go back. Yeah, I think I'm not really logged in. Yeah. So now let's log in again. All right. So we have our first HTTPS free automation system called Active Pieces. And just as I noted before, the license is free. So you don't have to worry about using it in your projects. So next we've done Coolify. So next we'll do Supabase. And then from there, we'll do Flowise. Okay, so that's Action Pieces down. Now, let's get Supabase going because that can take a moment. And that one can take down your server. I haven't seen it happen on these bigger ones. I've seen it happen on AWS ones. So we're inside of our project, Automation Tools. We'll do a new one, and we'll do Supabase. And we'll give that one a go. I don't think I'm going to rename the URL. And we just call it Supabase. And save. And because it's this plus our domain, it will automatically have the DNS and the certificate. This is running. We're going to do NoCoDB. NoCoDB. And then after that, we're going to do Flowise. And the thing with NoCoDB is we're gonna later on in another video show how it's a great middle place to do things. So I could put some links in here and build some automations around that information, though it looks like I broke it. And my point is this, I use Google Sheets all the time for this stuff too. So Google Sheets is great. The only reason I would do this over Google Sheets is, other than potentially privacy and stuff, but even that I don't worry about too much, is sometimes with Google Sheets you'll get like if you use it too much, you'll get a warning and you have to back off and put a weight in there. You'll get like a 429 error message. So this can be an advantage to that. But it's just a nice thing to have. I wouldn't say it's required. Google Sheets is amazing. Google Docs, all that stuff. In FlowWise, it's hard to beat FlowWise once you get a handle on it for chat widgets and RAG and stuff like that. Leaving Action Pieces as your automation, your integration system with all these other services, and then FlowWise as your LLM chat system that can work with that. So you could hook up Telegram to Active Pieces, Action Pieces, Active Pieces, and then you can, do I keep spelling it wrong? And then you can, so just like you would use N8N. So Active Pieces is your N8N, but it's open source for real. So you're just going to have less of an issue if you really get successful using it inside of our product. And the other, with N8N, you just get that risk of the license being clearly not as open source. But overall, I get to use it for an API building system, an automation building system. Integrating is so key. And N8N's amazing, but I just get worried about the license. It's just that simple. All right, let's see how we're doing over here. Here we go. Still going. You remember a while ago, we logged into the server. Oh, I'm still connected. Great. So you can see not much going on. That's not bad. These are beefy servers, but man, Amazon's been a nightmare. I think Amazon is just not the best place to go. But you can see here it's holding up just fine. Docker stats lets you see how things are doing there. I don't like how it's going off the screen, but you can use that to see what's taking up a lot of resources. And it's just building, so it won't be that way the whole time. All right, so we're making progress. Let's see. Let's go back to that browser, and this is the hard part about ops, is I hate waiting. Here we go. All right, so we're here. It's supposedly running. Here we go. So now, let's go back for a moment. Just not that we had to. There's this link up here that you can use, and then you'll get this screen here. And then you'll have the username for the dashboard, and then you'll have the password for the dashboard. And at this point you're in. You have Supabase. Now, to connect to that Supabase, and we can do this really quick. Let me pause for a moment. Okay, so we'll see if this worked, but the point will work. So I have a .env file. We have our Supabase working. Now, when you use Supabase, it's usually project-based, but that's because Supabase, the company, makes it project-based. When you host your own Supabase, it's basically that's the Supabase for that project. So you could have multiple Supabases on the server for each project, which is really nice. So if you were to go here and look at things, you won't get all the stuff you're used to for authentication and connection. I'll show you where to get that in a moment. But you get all the example code like you're used to. I'm going to try, I bet you, I could have just done curl, but what I'm going to do is grab that guy. And I'm going to put that here. Looks like I grabbed too much. Put that there. And then we're going to go to Supabase and Coolify, and we're going to go to environment variables. And we're going to go Supa in here. And it might actually be, let me just check really quick. I don't know if it's here. Postgres. So this is cool. You can get to your Postgres. We'll talk about that later. Because remember, Supabase is just a really nice collection of tools around Postgres. And I don't know why that happened. That's a bummer. But anyway, so it's not here, but we'll come back to the Postgres later. So we're going to go here, we'll go here, and then we're going to look. And I'm going to delete this server after, so I'm not too worried about the keys. And remember, you can put your OpenAI key, and you get a very helpful AI query builder. Very helpful, I think. So we're going to use the, let's see, we want the anonymous, we want the Supabase anonymous key. Okay. So this is the guy that you can put inside of the front end, and then if you're doing back end level work, you could use the other key, which can be good for more access. Sorry, I don't know if I just messed that up. I know we're good. Okay, so now if I run this, it should connect. If it doesn't, it's probably just the script, honestly. Dummy query does not exist. So it worked. It just doesn't have any databases in there, this particular thing. But we no longer get the connection issue. So At this point, and I'll show this in another video, the pattern of making migrations in Supabase using Cursor, you should give it some rules and some docs because it can go off on a tangent. But you would then have it make the migrations for you. We'll come back to that. I have all that ready to show in the next video. But we're connected. We have Supabase working. We're connected on the website. We see it working there. So that's good. And we're going to connect to Postgres as well. So let's do that. And we'll come back later on and do it more securely. I'm opening up the port in the firewall. You saw me do that earlier. Now we're going to tell Coolify to let it be a public URL. And you can limit this by your firewall to just your IP, to your other servers' IPs. In this case, for this video, I'm just going to go to the Postgres DB here and click on the settings. And then I'm going to click on 5432 because it's the only one running here. And then I'll make that public. And then we'll click save. It was already saved. Now it won't work because of a particular bug. So what we do is we go back to here, edit the composer. Someone on their Discord channel helped me here. It's worth jumping on there. And then we just paste in here port. And it's in their docs now. So we just paste that in. And then as we have more servers, we would just bump up this particular port to 5433, for example. But I'm sure they'll fix it soon, and then you wouldn't have to even worry about this. All right. So let's restart this guy because we just did all that work. And then, all right, so in this case, I'm going to connect with Table Plus, and we're going to go over here and set up a new connection. All right, so we're going to set up a new connection in Table Plus. I'm going to put it in a new group. 2025 is less code, more organizing. I'm going to make a new connection. And so now we're going to say Postgres. And in this case, we're gonna put in the IP of that server. So we're going to go grab that. Oops, right there. It's 5432. The username is right here. So if we close this, oh, port is already allocated. I don't know why. Maybe I have another thing running there. I didn't think I did, but when I installed the other service, it did make a port as well. So we'll say 5433. I'm going to check it. And then I'm going to go back here and go edit, and then 5432. And then I'm just going to, it's under ports, I'm just going to say that. And then that. I always get this mixed up. I think that will work. I asked ChatGPT earlier. I think that's it. Again, that's what a lot of this is, just asking ChatGPT. We're going to go back to our firewall, though, and open up that particular port. And again, you wouldn't need to do this all the time. You could limit it to your IP, and you could even do other cool things like scale to connect to it. Actually, I'm going to open this up for a moment. Some of these, when I installed Active Pieces, it came with Postgres, I think, so maybe that's the guy. We'll find out, though. It says it started. I don't know if I got the ports right, though. We'll find out in a moment. And then we'll go here. Okay, so where is the username and password? We may have to redo the port, but we'll do. Postgres name is Postgres. So that's easy. Postgres password is that. And then the Postgres user is just going to be that. So let's see what happens. I think, oh, we connected. So now we're connected to our Postgres, which is Supabase, the guts of Supabase. All right, so we have Supabase, we have Postgres running. We show how to open the port to use it if you need to. You don't have to do that. You really don't. And so let's go to our checklist. It's an overproduced checklist. Set up Supabase. All right, these really are the next two, and I'll explain NoCoDB in a moment. NoCoDB. So let's do NoCo first because I think it's a little quicker. So let's go here and go to projects. And then we're going to add a new one. NoCoDB. Okay, so sheesh. Wow, okay. So it doesn't have, I thought it was going to install Postgres, but it's not. So let's get rid of that. Just for now, doesn't matter. And let's give it a run. And then when I go to set up Flowise, we'll go to Action Pieces for a moment and show how it can connect to NoCoDB while Flowise gets working. And then in my next video, I'll connect everything and build something. Eventually come back and do a video on just how to make it connect to your local Ollama. Let's see, I might have closed that window too soon. It looks like it might be running or getting there. Sorry, I'm just going to click it again. So we installed Active Pieces here. I'm going to make a new flow. And I don't know, let's see, I'm still getting used to this one. So we're going to have a core, and we'll just do a webhook. Core, webhook, and then we'll have a NoCoDB, great record. And so we could do a connection, create a connection. So this is where we're going to create the connection. This is where we're going to do /test. Let me move my URL down. And we'll do testing. And so we hit our Action Pieces. And let's see. I think that should have shown here, but I'm still learning this. Okay, let's move this over. Okay, there we go. So we can now say, okay, create a record. Let's go to the NoCo we just created and starting. Okay. Remember, you have this little link here, and then we're going to go over here and build the username and passwords. And I'm just going to do that again, which I normally would not do, but I'm going to delete this after. Okay. And then we're going to say getting started, call this testing. And we'll call this action. And so then you can just get a quick sense of this if you haven't seen it already. We go back to our guy here and we'll say, oh yeah, so sorry. So then you go over to here into account settings, get your token, which is really nice how easy they make it. And you just copy that. And then you go here and you say connection, NoCoDB, token. Of course, you have to give it your NoCoDB URL. Let's see that. And I think that's it. I don't select the API version. There's no workspaces. I don't know how to, I haven't done that yet. And then we're going to get started. And then we're going to go testing. And then we're going to fill in the action column with the data that came in via get. There. And testing. Okay, not the greatest test. And that's it. So I think now if we go back to there, we should have data in that column. There you go. So you can see how you can do that now. The testing, I use this to do QA testing. So the QA system would hit the N8N webhook and then put it in here. So you can see how you can use this to save data, read data, pass it to the AI. I'll do that in the next one. And then fill in information from the AI after that. All right, so let's close that so I don't keep triggering it. And then let's go to here. So we have Active Pieces, we have NoCo, we have Supabase. If we go down the list, we have one more to do. And this is probably my favorite one. So let's go, let's go look at that one really quick. So new. Now, Flowise comes with a database or not. And I'm gonna do it with this one. We already set up Postgres. I'll do the regular Flowise and then we'll hook it up to our Supabase. Let's just do that. And let's just get rid of that for the heck of it. And let's deploy it. All right, and that's it. We'll be done. We can quickly do a Flowise to watch it work. Flowise just has a really great RAG system and chatbot. And not that it's necessary, but if you host it, you can more easily integrate the chatbot into your other systems because you can put it behind the URL that will make the core system happy. But I show that in a different video, so it's really not a big deal. It's just annoying. Okay, I think that's it. Let's see if it worked. This says exited, but I'm just going to click reload. Still exited. I think I closed it too soon. Let's just run it again. Don't close the window. Okay, I can see the little green light back there. I'm going to close it this time. And now we're ready. And I'm going to click on the link. And awesome, we have Flowise. It's just amazing. All right, let me give the username and password. And let's do that. Oh, it might give me one moment. Oh, Flowise. That's why I was locked out on my other system today. Where does it do that? Service port, service Flowise. Okay, so we go into here and we grab our user. And then we probably could set this, I know we can, ahead of time and it would look nicer and be nicer. Okay, so now we're in. So at this point, we could just build a quick chat flow just to watch it work. Quickly get a chat widget area. And again, we can do things with this particular area that it's not easy to get out of N8N in a way that I think is so nice. You can do follow-up prompts, and then we can actually have a file upload. So right away you get something you can embed. So then we could say, okay, let's go embed that somewhere. And then we could take that script and put it into our website that we host. I'll show that next time. It's just nice. So like now when we go in here, we could upload an image. What is in the image? Ah, that works better. Okay, cool. All right, so now I think that's everything. Let me close that. I think that's everything. Okay, that is a lot. So we've got the server, SSH working, firewalls, DNS, wildcard DNS, action pieces, Supabase, Flowise, Noco. I will show how to deploy to this from Lovable next time, how to connect the pieces to Supabase, how to then have your Lovable talk to active pieces so it can do more complex stuff in the back end. Or I might just pull in the Flowise chatbot so we can see that with the RAG system. We have a few options there, but the point is you're going to see how you have everything you need to really make these AI systems.